the weekly show with David J. Maloney.
This week, David chats with legendary musician and producer Leslie Mandoki.
And now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome, everyone, to the weekly show. I'm your host, David J. Maloney. On tonight's show, we've got a really special guest. He's got one of those incredible stories, which most of the time is saved for fictional characters, except he's actually lived it all. He escaped communist rule to find asylum in Germany, went on to have one of the most incredible music careers you can imagine as a musician and music producer, and he's now the band leader and founder of the incredible supergroup, the Mandoki Soulmates. Back with us again after the break to talk more about his life, music, and his band's brand new album, A Memory of Our Future, is none other than Leslie Mandoki. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So I got a call from one of the guys I was playing drums. The producer said, "Would you sing that song for me?" I said, "No, I'm not going to sing German. I mean, this is just no. Whenever I'm singing my own song. Then, but I pay you a lot of money, and so I was paid very well as a session drummer. So money was not something, but was really interesting, and he was not offering something ridiculous. And he said, "Okay, you should dance." I said, "No, I don't dance. I'm a musician, so I'm sitting in my drums, I'm singing." So make the long story short, then he said, "Hey, boy, you are Eastern European dreamer. You're a naive visionary. I know my wife is Eastern European, so I know that craziness that you guys always dreaming of something. You know what? You got 3.5 weeks my big studio if you sing that song for me, and then you can do whatever you want, a prog rock album, but no one really wants to hear." I said, "Deal done. I sing that for you. It doesn't matter what it is. I sing it for you, but I need your studio for 3 weeks." So this song became #1 and sold about 30,000 single copies a day, only in Germany, and then became a huge hit. Everywhere, part of America and UK, and Japan and Brazil and Australia. So make the long story short, I got locked into something what I was not even thinking ever serious. I just wanted to get this damn studio for 3.5 weeks for a program.
So that's the Dschinghis Khan story.
Yeah. That's the crazy story behind of that. So all of a sudden, a muso like me, who was a little bit a poet, a little bit of painter, but he was a prog rock muso, becomes a pop star. And he and if I was not planning anything, then I was not planning to become a pop star. So happens. Shit happens. So a bunch of golden and platinum records came along with that. But everything what you ever were reading about being the misery of being a pop star, it was there, So the gets ripped off and all this, but so the misery was happening. So I learned my lesson. So I went to the big record company boss, founder of BMG and Arista, said, "I can't do that. I mean, I'm a prog rocker. I'm a jazz rocker. So I'm just not a pop star kind of guy." And he said, "You know what? You do that, but if you do that for me, just 1.5 or max 2 years, then I'll take you to America." And this is something. Okay. Then again, this was like that 3.5 weeks of studio. That was again with the promise. As a prog rock guy, get to America.
Seems like a good trade.
Oh, great. It was a trade. My second time was a promising trade, but this way around. But it's never worth taking that way a place. But at least he was taking me indeed to New York, and he introduced me in a couple of studios, and that's the way how I got to know Anthony Jackson, the fabulous bass player, and he introduced me to Ellie Meola, and then then he was introducing me to Michael Brecker, and then Randy came in, and so this was one thing took to the other, the Mike Stern, then I went over to LA and the Toto guys and then Bob Kimball, and then I came back to London. I worked a lot with Nick Kershaw. And Mitch Ure of Alter Rocks and Howard Jones, so the Brit 80s artist.
Howard Jones.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge Howard Jones fan.
Yeah, it was a great guy, and also with Nick Manid of Cutting Crew. So then I'm back to America, and then with David Clayton Thomas of Blood, Sweat and Tears.
Have Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Wonderful, and that's one of the greatest singers. Then with Chaka Khan, and then I produced Lionel Richie, and then Disney came along, and I produced a couple of stuff, Atlantis and Mulan, and I wrote a couple of songs, and then they asked me to do the as musical director the Tarzan and Brother Bear with Phil Collins, became friends, and so everything so went on, and just middle of that, it's about 37 years ago or something, I bumped into a young girl, and she was second generation Hungarian, and fell in love, and I said, okay. I always wanted to have a family, but the family, a father has have a place to live, in a house, and not traveling between Los Angeles and New York and London and Munich, and back and forth. So, and I never had a Hungarian passport, so the Hungarians were not letting me out. They were not letting me in. So I was kind of remotely Hungarian in a way. And for that reason, because she became my wife, and we settled in Munich, actually Lake Starnberg, where I'm staying. I had our waterfront house, and about a mile away from here, I was building a huge studio. And all the record bosses were calling me and said, "You must be insane! I mean, all the big studios going down, and then you're building a huge studio with everything, big Bösendorfer and Hammond." I said, "Guys, don't worry about me. I mean, worry about yourself. I mean, I see that what's happening to you, but don't worry about it." So, I'm a family guy. So in the meantime, all the Soulmates album were produced here by the Lake Starnberg. Everybody loves to come here. Also, Lionel Richie or Phil Collins, everyone came here, or Chaka Khan. It's a funny thing because I'm still a Hungarian guy, of course, and very, very much American-minded, living in nearby Munich, and probably one of the most beautiful spots of Europe, Lake Starnberg, in the Alpine area. This is beautiful here, and all the Americans are coming to me, and we just released the first time in America an album, this A Memory of Our Future, which I think is our best album, and it was so crazy because we were celebrating our 30th anniversary, the band. We were touring last year, and I just wrote because I had the feeling that music becomes again this phenomenon, this responsibility in a society. We are in a labyrinth of crises. That compass is lost, and we are living in a great divide, and the people are just starting to hate each other. And music is the greatest unifier, So I remember this as a kid, what we have learned from our grandfathers from Woodstock. That we have a huge responsibility, and this was resonating in me. Also, what my father was saying, that talent is a responsibility. So I kept on writing, like Blood in the Water, and there was Psychopedia, and We Stay Loud, and Enigma of Reason, and Big Quit, and then Tony Carey sang, "Say, Leslie, I hate you. I desperately hate you." So what have I done? So you know what? You're writing songs now like you would be 22. They get so much power, so much energy, and so much to say about this crazy world we're living in, that we should just straight away after the tour, we should record it as it is. That raw, And then I can't recall, but probably it was Aldi Molo Mikeström. One of the guys came up with a silly, first there was silly sounding question. "Leslie, you never sell anything. Do you have your old 2-inch tape machines in the cellar on the basement?"
I had questions come up about this, so I'm glad you're talking about it.
And I said, "Of course I have them. We sealed it in plastic, but in a very functioning moment, 20 or 25 years ago, I don't know." So back from the tour, go down to the basement, sealed, wonderful machines. You know, they look great. The real mechanics. So I call up the old engineers. Everybody's retirement. So I said, guys, well, I need you for a couple of days to come in. I mean, so I put up into the studio elevator, bringing it up, and it was taking max 2 days to line up the machines, and they were working. You know, we had to change a couple of things, you know, and that was difficult to get tapes, and so it was an issue. But within a week we were up and running. And all of a sudden, we were not having any MIDI arrangements. Normally, you know, that everything is digital. You quickly program it, and then you play it. But you hear it before you play it. And of course, you print out your sheets and all this. All of a sudden, nothing was like that. All of a sudden, pencil, writing, piano, acoustic guitar, brain work. And all the guys came and we love it. And we called it, this is a handwritten love letter to our audience instead of a text message.
That's accurate, because I was going to ask you how you guys achieved the sound and recording process you sought out on the record, because I was thinking to myself, there can't be many studios that could accomplish what you guys wanted to do, and I was going to ask you how you guys went about making that happen, and now it's all. Now I get it.
You know, imagine that we were getting together and we were not playing. We were just sitting around the piano with acoustic guitar and percussion and with the pencil and the stand, and said, okay, what about if we extend, instead of 8 bars, let's do 16 bars and let's make the modulation here. But they, can we try half tone lower? No, okay, this was so. It was like in the teenage times, and about 3 days long, only that. So not playing, just kind of reading rehearsal, we called it. That we just made it more precise and no arrangements in a traditional sense. Let's say in a modern world sense, that you program it and you print it out. And all of a sudden, everything was handwritten. That was a beautiful world back again. And then we all of a sudden, okay, we're done, and let's play. And then, funny, if you listen to the whole 80 minutes, now you will find out that we had the vision. I painted the cover, so the black swan, and we put it up on the wall. And we said, our listeners should have the feeling when they were listening to this 80 minutes, or they're coming to the concert, the black swan turns white again. We want to, paint a better picture of the world. So we should be the compass out of this labyrinth of crisis. And it was a stunning moment as the first track was recorded in the way it sounds, because all of a sudden, now an Eastern European is saying to you, who was hating limitations, I realized that limitations could be a great inspiration, because we had only one track for the guitar solo. And everybody had to play on that momentum. So no post-production, it went down like that.
It kind of reminds me, in some ways, we had Andy Timmons on the show the last couple weeks, and he re-recorded an album that Lennon and McCartney had produced for a different band originally. And he was able to do it in Abbey Road, and they still had some of the old equipment that the Beatles had actually used, some of the old microphones. So he was able to achieve some of that same sound because they simply had some of the same stuff. And then when you're talking to me about the poster on the wall, it makes me think about now, because now with streaming and now with so many different things, people don't set out to produce an album that has any kind of theme anymore. You know what I mean? Because every song has its own soundbite now. You know what I mean? Whereas I miss the days when you could listen to an album from beginning to end and there was some interconnection, and that is, I mean, yeah, that's a prog rock thing, but also there were other bands that didn't do prog rock. There were folk bands that did that. There were a lot of bands that the album would have, a feeling, a theme throughout. And I don't feel like we get that much anymore.
I mean, the recording industry turned to be a track business, you know.
Yeah.
So this is only about one track. We are working against all odds, you know. We are young enough and old enough. You know, we are independent enough. That's our age, but we are young enough because we have this fire to do it. And we have the courage to ask the questions. And I'm so privileged because some of our great founding members, like Jack Bruce, as he was, you know, fading away, and he passed away, and I was sitting just with Eric Clapton and the family of Jack in London after the funeral, and my phone was buzzing in my pocket, and Quincy Jones was calling me, and he said, "Okay, Leslie, you need now a new bass player, and I see you in 4 days in New York, and I'm going to introduce through the fabulous Richard Bona." Or as John Lord of Deep Purple was passing, then Corey Henry came into the band. You know, he was 27, and then we celebrated his 30th birthday on Paris Olympia while we were playing there. So, and in many ways, we had this, you know, that sort of the change of generations were taking place in the band, and Ian sounds younger than ever on flute, and it's always very interesting to find for Randy Bracker on fabulous John Halliwell Supertramp, on all these folks, I mean, at the right places, and also to find new ways to do it. But this probably the most political record that we ever done as well, because we feel this moment, this trying times what we are going through, and we would like to be the ones who are at the end of the tunnel with a torch. And the last album, Utopia for Real, is the last song called The Torch. And it's about passing on the torch to the next generation. And during the anniversary tour, I started to say at the end of the show, where we all, you know, had our bows, and the encore was, you know, just around the corner. And then I said, no, we are not going to pass on the torch, because we fix the world before we do that. And so the old rebels are back, and for our own reception, or our own interpretation, our own understanding, we are sounding younger than ever, because we got back to the old way and put up the wonderful old microphones and the machines, and we sat down in a circle and just, you know, did what we learned to do. And because of this, and I'm not someone who's against the digital world. Of course, this is the way it is. But ask any lady, or your daughter, or your wife, or anyone around you, your secretary, how would you like to get a love letter? As a text message, or rather a handwritten love letter? And all the ladies, all the girls will tell you, of course, a handwritten love letter. And this is our album. And as you very correctly, very precisely, you described that today, it's very rare that you have an album as a piece of art. The 80 minutes is the piece of art, and I'm very thankful, and that you're not asking, and no one was asking. No American journalist was asking me what is your favorite track, because everybody who were listening to the album realized that this the favorite new piece of 80 minutes. But share with you something very prog rock, yeah, maybe two top secrets of the prog rock. Joking. You know, the previous album was Béla Bartók's Hungarian Pictures, Utopia for Realists. It's happened just before, because as we were touring with the lineup, Peter Frampton was on guitar, Jack Bruce on bass, Ian Anderson was playing the flute, Greg Lake was playing guitar, John Lord was on Hammond, Manfred Mann on synthesizer, Bobby Kimball and Chris Thompson were singing. I played the drums, and one of the nights, Greg Lake and John Lord said, "Can we sit around the corner, of the table? And Leslie, we would like to share with you something." Amazon Lake Palmer was not planning to do pictures of an exhibition. We wanted to do Hungarian pictures by Béla Bartók. That's how we did Allegro Barbaro. But we never got the rights cleared, so we couldn't do that. So we just had huge, incredible legal stress because of Allegro Barbaro. So you are Hungarian origin. Can you get them right? And then with Soulmates, we are going to record it. And I'm a bit self-confident guy, so I said, of course. I mean, I called the grandkids of Béla Bartók, and I've tracked them down, and then we're gonna make it. So I never got an answer from them, but we got together in London, Jack Bruce, John Lord, and Greg Lake, and we started to work on it. And finally, I got tracked them down, the grandkids, and they said, "No way. No, we will never give you any promises." Guys, Béla Bartók was the first rock and roll. So we couldn't clear the guy. So we wrote a bunch of sheets, and we were just working on a piano, and we had to forget it for a moment. Jax left us, John Lord left us, Greg Lake left us. They all play now with Jimi Hendrix, but I promised that I'm going to do that. So we did it 5 years ago or 4 years ago. We released 4 years ago, this album. And even Chick Corea was dropping by on his last tour before, because he was a huge Béla Bartók freak, just to listen to. And was his last time he was in Munich. And another little story I would like to share with you is the last song, or last piece of music, actually, of this very album, A Memory of Our Future. Because we had about 70-something minutes of music done, and I think Richard Bona someone was coming up and said, "Leslie, honestly, a double album and the CD length, so do you have one more?" I said, "No, but not really, but I have a theme, a melody, so that's what I can offer you." And then they fell in love with that. So we had no plan. We had not any rehearsal, any sheets, anything. I played that theme, and all of a sudden we played that. What you hear on the record as a melting pot, we called it, is in the very last piece, is just played live in the studio like you hear it.
Just jamming.
It's just a jam. Because my first band as a teenager was caught by the police back then behind the Iron Curtain in the communist times, called Jam. So as a reminiscence to that, we were jam. The last piece is a jam. But have a listen to that.
That's just so cool. That's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to Leslie Mandoki for joining us. Leslie is going to be back again with us next week for the next part of our interview, so please tune back in. Stay safe, everyone.